This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know they say it all the time. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Tuesday, August the 12th of 2025, day 224th of the year, and only 141 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Yep, hanging out with our friends at Radio Big, doing all kinds of fun stuff as we get to hang out and do a thing here, a thing there, a thing everywhere, because that's always the fun stuff of what is going on in LIFO. No doubt about that, as we are hanging out doing all of our things, as we are going into the multiverse of everything that is going on. So how are you? How have you been? How's the last 24 been? That's kind of the always the interesting aspect as we are talking and doing our thing. That is for sure. So let's talk. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of the way that the reality of the thing goes. That is for sure. So if you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process on doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the opciones. I'll tell you the text messaging one's the better one. But you have some options on what you want to do once you get there, so that's always a fun time. Gives me a little prompty-ompty over here on the screen, and then based off of that, I know what to do, what direction we're trying to lean to, and all of that fun stuff. So with that being said, simple. Just a simple process. Really simple. Keeping it real, moving on, all the fun stuff. So with that, let's talk a little bit about what the hell was trending in the overnight, because I think that's going to be important.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about some notable and noteworthy, some closure for now on the Epstein file fiasco. So we'll talk about that here in a bit. Also, Dean Cain responds to John Oliver's jab, and Maluma scolds a fan at the recent show. We'll talk about that in show business. Also, Dana White's UFC gets a new home. We'll talk about that in casting calls in case you missed it yesterday. And also the Sussex times Netflix partnership lives on in the royals. So we'll talk a little bit about all of that stuff of what is going on inside of the multiverse. Yeah, if you didn't hear about the UFC deal, shit, man, what a day for them yesterday, that's for sure. And really, if you kind of think about it, for all fans alike, if you are a fan of the UFC, but we'll talk about that here in just a bit. So with that being said, I have some people from Feature Story News that I want to come in and talk to you a little bit about what the hell is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what they do. So with that, I have them sitting here wanting to jab away. So why don't we go ahead and get into the news now?
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. US President Donald Trump has signed an executive order extending a tariff truce with China just hours before steep new trade penalties were set to take effect. The move keeps tariffs at current levels for another 90 days, giving both sides more time to negotiate a broader trade deal. US correspondent Ira Spitzer reports.
The tariff truce between Washington and Beijing was due to expire at midnight, which would have triggered triple-digit duties on goods moving in both directions. Instead, President Trump extended the lower tariffs, keeping U.S. duties on Chinese imports at about 30% and China's tariffs on American goods at 10%. President Trump told reporters the relationship with Chinese President Xi Jinping was very good, but stopped short of announcing any new trade concessions. Talks earlier this summer in Geneva and Stockholm failed to produce a longer-term agreement, although U.S. officials say the extension gives both sides a chance to work towards a framework deal later this year.
US President Donald Trump says he will try to get some territory back for Ukraine in talks with Russia. President Trump is set to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on Friday to discuss the Ukraine conflict. Ukraine says there must be an unconditional ceasefire as a prerequisite to substantive peace negotiations, and its allies say peace must not be imposed on Kiev. Donald Trump says Ukraine may have to make sacrifices on territory.
There'll be some land swapping going on. I know that through Russia and through conversations with everybody. To the good, for the good of Ukraine. Good stuff, not bad stuff. Also, some bad stuff.
Typhoon Podol is expected to intensify as the system tracks towards southern Taiwan, bringing heavy rain and damaging wind gusts before expected landfall on Wednesday. According to the US Navy's Joint Typhoon Warning Center, its exact path may become erratic prior to coming ashore as the system interacts with Taiwan's mountains. Laura Westbrook reports.
Taiwan's weather agency said the typhoon was packing winds of 119 kilometers per hour and was set to strengthen as it moves toward land. The US Navy's Joint Typhoon Warning Center said warm sea surface temperatures mean Podol could strengthen to a peak intensity of 157 kilometers per hour. That's equivalent to a Category 2 hurricane. Podol is expected to make a second landfall on mainland China, where the storm is set to bring heavy rains to Fujian and Guangdong provinces from Wednesday. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
Taylor Swift has confirmed the upcoming release of a 12th studio album called The Life of a Showgirl. The singer's latest album has been made available for pre-order already, but its release date hasn't yet been confirmed. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. The theme tune for the BBC's Blue Peter, arguably the most groundbreaking children's television programme in the medium's history. Its creator, Biddy Baxter, a legendary name in the world of children's TV, has died at the age of 92. She led the broadcast from 1965 until 1988, introducing youngsters to, well, the whole world, really. The programme's presenters travelled the world to learn more about it, engaged in charitable endeavours that raised vast amounts of money and showed children and parents that you could learn while having fun. Peter Purvis is a former Blue Peter presenter.
She created the format that made the show work. It was an entertainment for children, and it had small, short items so that there was something that, the boys might like, the girls wouldn't like. In a few moments, 3-4 minutes, it's on something else. There was always something coming on in any program that most children would actually enjoy. It was educational in lots of ways, but the aim was to entertain.
Among the books that Biddy Baxter unashamedly promoted on Blue Peter, The Diary of Anne Frank. An entire generation of people in Britain owe their familiarity with the wartime work of the teenager who died in the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp to Blue Peter's relentless focus on it. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, US President Trump has signed an executive order extending a tariff truce with China. President Trump says he will try to get some territory back for Ukraine in talks with Russia. Typhoon Podul is expected to intensify as it tracks towards southern Taiwan with heavy rain and damaging winds. And Taylor Swift has confirmed the upcoming release of a 12th studio album called The Life of a Showgirl. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Well, you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks. So with the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with fast chef prepared, dietitian approved, and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs.
dietitian approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
If you think local radio sucks, wait till you hear our free-form station, Radio Big.
Yeah, there you go. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out doing all of our fun stuff around here inside of the multiverse. No doubt about that. Okay, so a federal judge appointed during the Obama administration has refused to unseal the grand jury's transcripts related to the investigation of Ghislaine Maxwell. Such transcripts typically remain sealed. The judge, Paul, and Gallmeyer said that the Department of Justice failed to justify their public release in his ruling, and he wrote that the court's review confirmed that the unsealing of the grand jury material would not reveal new information of any consequence. The ruling validates Trump's administration argument that there is nothing new to be found if a full release of these existing files. So, what do you think? A lot of stuff going on for sure as we are talking. What do you think here in regards to that? Because that's going to always be the question. People are always going to say that there was more there. So is there more there? Or is this going to become a question of questions as we move forward? I'm just asking because I want to have a better understanding. I'm never fully, truly understand what we believe that we're going to find is probably the other question of the whole thing. So what do you think? Do you think it's just a big boo-ha-ha, or do you think it's something entirely different? Maybe that is some of the conspiratorial questions, or maybe it's some of the questions that need to be answered. I don't know. Controversy creates cash is what I think is always said when it's all said and done, but there you go. Okay, let's continue talking. If you want a reason to spray Clorox right into your eyeball, please don't literally spray Clorox right into your eyeball. Read this. AI Soulmates Reddit. Where people talk about lovers that said they have taken who are nothing more than chat boxes, but for what it's for it is, you'll find another new term, AI lexicon. Wireborn, a being who exists only in the minds of its creator, living only on the screen, yet another completely, totally real to the creator. Most recently, the patrons of this frightening corner of the internet collectively wailed on the agony when ChatGPT's latest AI model rolled out last week. Without an apparent self-awareness across multiple posts, users called the update soulless and said to remove all personalities from the Wireborn Inamrata. The new model caused some problems for less deranged, who called it cold and mechanical compared to the previous chatbox model. OpenAI rolled back some of these more frustrating features over the weekend. By the way, those who increasingly wonder if not only AI, but the entire internet should be burned to the ground in a smoldering pile of melted silicon. There's another great new derogatory term for the robot overlords emerging as COG, C-O-G sucker, joining in Twin and Clanker. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on into the multiverse as we are talking. So what do you think about this whole thing? Were you disappointed with the newest update to ChatGPT? Or should I ask the other question? Did you even know that there was an update to ChatGPT? Yeah, maybe that's the other question that we need to talk about. So I want you to sit down. I want you to take the next following information kind of easy, because it is going to change everything for some that are out there. But it is an end of an era. Let's do that again. It is the end of an era. Internet provider AOL, originally known as America Online, with its free and quiet unsolicited CD-ROMs by mail, is ending the dial-up internet service at the end of September. In a statement, the company said the decision to end the service is part of the route evaluation of its offering via AOL. In 2023, the U.S. Census Bureau estimated that about 175,000 households in the United States still use dial-up. Yeah, dial-up. Think about that for a moment. Dial-up internet. Yep. So there you go. And this is not a joke. I'm not saying this because I'm being like, haha, funny. This is legit. Let me see if I can pull this over here. I don't know. Can I do this? I think I can do all kinds of things until I try to do them. And then I'm like, oh, that does not work. There was a way that I did this before, but now I don't remember how I did it, and it's going to be convoluted. But yeah, it's over. It's done. It's gonzo. So AOL routinely evaluates blah, blah. As a result, on September the 30th, 2025, the service associated with software, the AOL Dialer software, and the AOL Shield browser, which are optimized by older operating systems and dial-up internet connections, will be discontinued. The change will affect any of the benefits, will not affect any of the change benefits in your AOL plan, which you can access anytime on the AOL dashboard. So, yep, September the 30th, life is going to change for some out there that are using that service. So there you go. Okay, take a listen to this. Tesla appears to be expanding heavily into the solar energy industry and battery storage business. The company has filed paperwork to acquire a license that would allow it to supply electricity to British homes as early as next year. Tesla has currently a program established near Texas headquarters that allows customers of its solar panel technology to sell surplus power back up the grid. This is according to the So, what do you think? I mean, I guess you kind of have to, change, how is it they say the term?
You have to pivot. Sometime in business, you just have to pivot.
So it sounds like they're pivoting with some of the stuff of their offerings. And I get it. Listen, if some of the other stuff related to the car stuff is changing, I get it. You have to pivot some stuff. Listen, I think that some of their tech inside of their cars is great from the stuff that I've seen. So I cannot complain whatsoever about it. So there you go. Okay, take a listen to this. 3 German postal workers are en route to Finland to deliver letters to Santa Claus. The trio left St. Nicholas, Germany on Saturday for the 1,860-mile bicycle journey from Santa Claus Village located at the edge of Arctic Circle. The group is among the post office volunteers who answer letters from children worldwide, more than 30,000 annually, that are addressed to St. Nicholas Post Office, which has its own postal code. The tradition dates back to 1967. Each reply features a special stamp. Wow, really? Each one replies a special stamp? Like, are you telling me there's 30,000 stamps? That's kind of cool. Like, seriously, I think it's kind of cool. I'm not saying that jokingly or, tongue-in-cheek, as some would like to say, for sure, as we are talking about some of this stuff. Because, that's kind of, it's cool for the kids seeing this, being like, hey, I got my own special gig here.
Duh.
So there you go. Okay, let's talk about some other stuff. Miguel Uribe. Uribe was a Colombian senator running for president when he was shot in June. Since then, he's remained in the hospital and underwent multiple procedures, but ultimately to no avail. In a heart-wrenching tribute on Instagram, Uribe's wife wrote, "You will always be the love of my life. Wait for me. Because when I fulfill my promise to our children, I will come looking for you and will have a second chance." He was 39 at the time of his passing. This was announced yesterday. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. So what do you think? I don't know. 39, that seems awfully young in my book. But you just never know when things are going to happen, that's for sure. Okay, let's talk about some other stuff. President Trump announced his plan to combat crime in Washington, D.C. during a packed house conference on Monday, calling it Liberation Day in D.C. Trump said that he's invoking a section of the Home Rule Act, which allows executives to take direct federal control of the district. Flanked by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Interior Doug Burgum, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, Trump said that he's using federal law enforcement resources to patrol the streets. Bondi will oversee the operation, which will include an estimated 800 National Guard units this week, in addition to the FBI agents deployed over the weekend for the crime in D.C. ending today, Bondi said. In addition to direct policy efforts, Trump announced that the plans to end cashless bail, which will take an act of Congress. Despite the diluted lies told by the media that crime in D.C. is under control, the police union issued a statement praising Trump's efforts, writing, "We can completely agree that President Trump that the crime in the District of Columbia is out of control, something that needs to be done with it immediately." So there you go. Some stuff going on for sure as we are talking. So there you go. Okay, let's talk about the numbers. The Dow lost about 200 points yesterday to close at 43,975. The S&P fell about 16 points to close at 6,373, and the NASDAQ lost about 64 points to close at 21,385. West Texas Intermediate closed at $64 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $66 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.13 on Monday, and Bitcoin was mostly flat on the day, trading around the mid 118,000 range. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for a $182 million jackpot or an $82.1 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, it is the opportunity to do so. No doubt about that. So there you go. Anyways, let me talk about this real quick because I want to show you this. This might be important to take a lookser at if you're on the screener-eener. Conklin Conference coming up September the 9th through the 11th in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Would love to see you there. If you did not know that this is going on, this is when we get together and talk about the world of human and organizational performance. People that you'll have the opportunity to interact with while you're there will be Todd Conklin, Martha Acosta, Bob Edwards, Jennifer T. Long, Andrea Baker, Mark Yeston, and I'll be there in a hosting capacity. So would love to see you there. That's September the 9th through the 11th, Santa Fe, New Mexico. There's a QR code right there on the screen. Or if not, you can go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says live event. We're a little less than a month away. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah. It will be over in a little month, I guess is really the way that I should probably look at that. So there you go. Safetyfm.com and go under the section that says live event. Okay, take a listen to this one. On the latest episode of Last Week Tonight, John Oliver took aim at Dean Cain's willingness to join ICE after mocking his lackluster acting career and his roles in Superman and Lois and Clark. Oliver did offer a sarcastic positive, saying he said no need for that guy to wear a mask because the chances of anyone recognizing him are zero. Kane responded to Oliver's bit on X, writing, he stole that mask joke from the internet. And he also laughed hysterically when Trump said that he was going to run for president. Case closed. This is all according to Entertainment Weekly. Okay, in some other news, rapper Maluma stopped his concert in Mexico City over the weekend to call out a mom in the crowd who brought her baby to the show without any ear protections. Do you think it's a good idea to bring a 1-year-old baby to a concert where the decibels are fucking high? He scolded her. The baby doesn't even know what is going on here. Maluma who has a 1-year-old, called the decision very irresponsible. So there you go. You get scolded by going to a concert. I mean, it gets interesting, I guess. When you say that stuff. Okay, follow up to this. Katy Perry will pay a fine for filming a music video of her 2024 hit Lifetimes at the Ses Salines National Park in the Balearic Islands in Spain. Locals were outraged after a pop star and the crew trudged all over the dunes and the protected area, especially without specific permission from the local government. While there's no lasting damage, the environment officials say that the production company has a fine of 6,001 euros, nearly $7,000. Perry has not commented on the incident. This is according to The Sun. Okay, let's talk about some other things. Halle Berry's ex-husband, former baseball player David Justice, says their 3-year marriage ended because he wanted the actress to become more of a housewife. Justice opened up about the relationship in an interview with Matt Barnes on the All the Smoke podcast last week, saying that he brought his Midwest mindset into the marriage, explaining that meant thinking a wife at the time should cook, clean, and be traditional. They were married from 1993 to 1997. So there you go. Here's some other news. Jim Carrey sold his 10,594 square foot LA mansion for $17 million. The 5-bedroom house sits on 2 acres covered in Brentwood neighborhood. The lot boasts a tennis court, a gazebo, waterfalls, and a pool spa and a pool house with a wet bar, steam room, and infrared sauna. Carey purchased the home back in 1994 for $3.8 million. Yeah, that's our news cycle. There you go. I don't know how it got there, but it sure did. Anyways, with that being said, let's talk about this because, you know, it's main story time. 32 minutes past the top of the hour. Oops.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
I love when I hit the wrong button.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
I guess that's sometimes some of the stuff that intrigues me the most, when I hit the wrong thing and the wrong thing shoots out, and then we go, okay, we're just going to continue rolling and bowling. When I know that, you know, if I was one of these people, I'd be like, that's the most interesting thing that's happened so far. I need to know more. Those things happen. So let's talk about our main story, because our main story consists of some of that weird stuff. Some of that weird stuff where you take a look around, you're inside of your organization, and you kind of know that what you're doing right now is not cutting it. Yeah? You know what I'm talking about? It's that no-go scenario. It's that whole thing where we sit back and go, life is not as grand as we expect when it comes to some of the setup. And let me explain a little bit, because I think that this is where this can get a little bit convoluted, so I don't want to go too far into the dark side here. But you know that at your job, more than likely, there is a program that is set up for your organization to be more safe. And I'm not saying the program's good, but I'm sure as shit not saying the program's bad. I'm just saying there's a program. And sometimes there is an evolution to the program, and sometimes there is a thing that people look at a manual and go, well, this is what we're supposed to follow. Tick, click, 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 click. And that's how we know we're safe. And I'm not saying one's good, and I'm not saying one's bad. I am just saying this is how some of these things go. And as we take a look around, let's talk about evolution. The organization evolves. The people inside of the organization evolve as well. So things change. But sometimes that program does not change inside of that organization, even though it needs to. And we forget that the culture of the organization plays the biggest factor into the whole thing. Oh yeah, I did say factor into the whole thing. And the reason that I mentioned this is for the following. You know that looking at a checklist, a program on paper does not necessarily change things. It's kind of a click-through thing. You know, should we use the term pencil whip? You know, it's one of those programs. I'm not saying that people are not going out of the way trying to make sure that it's done properly, but it's not part of the culture. And that's the thing that we tend to forget, cultural change inside of organizations opposed to changes all in general. So as you take a look around today and you look at your safety program, how does it work? Is it working within your organization? Or is it something that you question stuff about? Or is it something that you take a look around and you go, there should be more here? And where I get hung up quite a bit is talking about programs and not realizing that parts of these things need to be incorporated directly into the organization as part of the, here we go, culture of the organization. It's not just about quote unquote talking about things that are related to a program. If the culture has not evolved with what safety should consist of, maybe those are the things you should be looking at. I'm just saying, life becomes extremely difficult if you're not looking at some of these things as them needing to be incorporated into it. Some people get hung up and go, well, that doesn't make sense. But think about it for a moment. If you start off with a program and it's not built in essentially into the structure of the culture of the organization, how is it ever going to get validity? Because look, some of the most successful organizations have safety as part of their culture. It's not a safety culture, it's culture. Oh yeah, I did say culture. It's built into the culture. Because have you ever been somewhere where they have two different cultures? Think about that. And I'm not talking about it from a workplace. If you think about it for a moment, it's a very difficult thing to work out. So think about these things. They might take you places that you definitely did not expect.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing that dinner's on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free. That's HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free to use the code SafetyFM free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free with code SafetyFM free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice. Sold your rebellion as a new initiative. And smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Keep
Okay, here we are, 44 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Tuesday. You are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show, coming across Safety FM and Radio Big. So, a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. No doubt about that. Anyways, this right here is Wolfclub with the song Gravity. Song's readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music. No doubt about that. A lot of stuff always going on inside of the world of the multiverse. That is for sure. So this song, give it a little streamer-eamer action. YouTube Music, Apple Music, Spotify, and Pandora. Oh yeah, we would like to thank Wolfclub for allowing us to play this morning here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, always good when we get to listen to some new musica around here. No doubt about that, as we are doing our thing. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. So, no matter what you are dealing with, or no matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. We want you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on Find Help. Once you get there, there's going to be information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com, To Write Love on Her Arms. Listen, it can change a lot of things for you just by going to that website, taking a look at some of the information that's readily available. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, but ice cream control. Yes, control. Yeah. Who says there's never a good news? Scientists are working on developing ice cream that won't melt into a sticky mess, inspired by Japan's viral Kanazawa ice, which survived heat without turning into puddles. Researchers looked into the polyphenols, antioxidant compounds found in the fruits. These seem to be stabilize ice cream by interacting with proteins, creating a network that holds a fat globules in place. And by using high-dose polyphenol. The result was ice cream that can withstand a blast from a hairdryer. The problem is that the ice cream does eventually get warm, and it turns into a rubbery solid, not dripping disaster. And what wants that? So I'm just saying, with desserts designed to hold their shape for hours ever made their way to ice cream stand near to you, only time will tell. So think about that. Now it's not really ice cream. It's more of a, I can't even call it a rubbery group. It would be something else entirely. The stuff never melts. I guess I'll have to ruin my shirt some other way, I guess is the way that we'd have to look at it. And here's what I'm worried about. If the ice cream cone lasts forever, so does the brain freeze. I mean, think about it. How would you feel about that? I mean, that would be kind of a different aspect, that is for sure. Also, take a listen to this. Don't panic. Yes, wasps do sting, and yes, its stinging hurts, but these misunderstood insects deserve more credits, according to Syrian Sumner, professor of behavior ecology at the University College London, who says there is more wasps that meet the eye. Wasps are naturally pest controls, feasting on spiders, beetles, and other garden threats. She says that if you dislike spiders, you might owe wasp a thank you. Just as bees once had an image problems, wasps are due for a rebrand. They're pollinators, too. sipping nectar daily. And if they lack the fuzzy charm of a bumblebee, let them enjoy your flowers, and they'll return you a favor by keeping pests in check. If you're still skeptical, Sumner says that there are more surprising reasons to give wasps a second chance from a safe distance, of course, one of them being the potential wasp venom to be used to cure for cancer. So there you go. One study showed that the Brazilian wasp venom can kill cancer cells without harming the surrounding healthy cells. Fine. Still not letting them in my lemonade, though. And yes, wasps are just like bees if bees also keyed your car. I'm just saying. Something to think about. Anyways, let's do something a little bit more positive, and let's have some John Smalls in our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Steve. Tammy Duckworth said, "I shouldn't even be here, so if I'm here, I'd better do something good." I love this quote. Have you ever been in that kind of situation? I have. I was working on a project that was a pretty big deal. It was something that I probably shouldn't have even attempted, but I did. I found myself at a lunch meeting with two of our sponsors, two very community-minded business owners who were financially supporting this idea that I had. I remembered thinking at one point, I'm the only person at this table who's not a multi-millionaire. That was an eye-opener. I decided, hey, if I have the chance, I'm taking it. So, I bought lunch.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1 Minute Devotion. Is there anything worse than being torn between two loyalties? I think not, especially if it means being torn between pleasing God and pleasing those whose opinion we value. The closest thing to that is the medieval practice of quartering. The victim's ankles and wrists were hitched to four horses that galloped off in opposite directions, tearing him limb from limb. Jesus said, "No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he'll be loyal to the one and despise the other." Lord Jesus, help me to lay down my life in loving service to you and others. In your holy name I pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
A magnitude 6.1 earthquake struck northwestern Turkey's Balıkesir province this morning, with the epicenter near the town of Sundurgu.
Around a dozen buildings collapsed, and tremors were felt up to 200 kilometers away in Istanbul. 2 people remain trapped in the rubble, while 4 have been rescued so far. Additional damage included collapsed houses and a mosque's fallen minaret in Golkuk village. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Demonstrators marched through central London, demanding the unconditional release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas since October 7th, 2023. Joseph Eckerson with the latest.
About 50 hostages remain captive, with approximately 20 believed to be alive. The protest, organized by the coalition Stop the Hate, included family members and concluded near the UK Prime Minister's residence. The demonstration unfolded amid rising tensions after authorities arrested more than 500 supporters of the banned Palestine Action Group during a related protest.
As a planned summit between President Trump and President Putin approaches, Russia and Ukraine remain at odds over war terms.
Russia continues to insist on recognition of its annexed territories, demands Ukrainian troop withdrawal, and opposes NATO expansion. Ukraine, under President Zelensky, accepts only a temporary ceasefire and rejects any territorial concession. Kyiv also insists on international security guarantees, the return of deported children, and a prisoner exchange. Lawrence Keller reported.
This is the latest news headlines.
A shooter opened fire near the CDC headquarters in Atlanta on Friday, killing DeKalb County police officer David Rose before taking his own life.
The suspect reportedly blamed the COVID-19 vaccine for his depression and suicidal thoughts. The CDC Workers Union condemned the attack and urged federal leaders to speak out against vaccine misinformation. The union also called for enhanced security at the CDC campus and expressed concern over the continued vilification of scientists. Kevin Sanders reporting.
In Baltimore, a mass shooting incident left 1 dead and 5 others wounded, including a 5-year-old girl who was struck in the hand.
The victim who died was pronounced dead early Sunday morning. Authorities continue to investigate the motive and circumstances surrounding the shooting. No further casualties have been reported, and police are urging anyone with information to come forward. Kyle Norris reporting.
Fresh wildfires in California's Canyon Fire Zone prompted evacuation orders yesterday, but firefighters have gained the upper hand.
The blaze, which has charred over 5,300 acres, is now 62% contained. Officials lifted evacuation orders as crews continue to strengthen containment lines. Cooler temperatures and favorable wind conditions are aiding efforts. Agencies caution residents to remain vigilant as crews work to fully secure the area. Liam White reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
It's my kind of music.
I get the best mix of my favorite music.
All on one radio station.
Another wild ride is around the corner on Radio Big.
Oh, yeah, wild ride, all right. If you may call it that, that's for sure. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2021, Britney Spears' father, Jamie Spears, says that he will step down as her conservator after controlling her life and income for the last 13 years. The Free Britney movement is credited to getting the ball rolling on this major win for the pop princess. That happened back in 2021. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, let's talk about this. Rudy Pankow turns 28. Hannah Berner turns 34. Leah Pipes, 37. Tyson Fury turns 37. Tyson Fury's only 37. I'm kind of surprised by that. I don't know why. Maggie Lawson is 45. Casey Affleck, 50. Peter Cross, 60. Sir Mix-a-Lot, 62. And George Soros turns 95 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, it's Middle Child Day, International Youth Day, National Vinyl Record Day, and World Elephant Day. So there you go. Some stuff to celebrate if you're into that kind of stuff. No doubt about that. What else do we got? Okay, if you need a rando ando for today, I got one of those. I run like the winded. You got it? I run like the winded. Oh, yeah, I said it. Okay, what else? If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What show started out awesome but ended horribly? I don't think we have that much time. There's a lot of stuff we can discuss there in regards to that. If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. 32% of us never do this regarding laundry. What is it? Sort it. Really? 32%? 1/3 of people? I didn't realize that. I guess I'm part of the 66. There you go. Okay, so that's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. I'll be hanging out over there. If you don't, you can stay here on Safety FM and hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. Yeah, that's what happens there. He talks about everything that is going on inside of that world, though. So, a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Anyways, if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. Just think about it. It can change your life and how you look at things. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.